Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt. Welcome back to Farlands or Bust. Nothing? Okay. Farlands or Bust. Episode 718 of the series. Oh, that's right. That is correct. We had iron schmelting, and now we smelt it, and now we have dealt it. And we're continuing west to those far lands here in Minecraft Beta 173. Where am I? Who am I? East-west. All right, this way's west, towards the spider of the spider of over there-ness. Indeed, this episode, like I said, episode 718, coming out on Thursday, November 29th, 2018. Just organizing my inventory. Yeah, episode 718. This one not being recorded on Twitch. Not being recorded on Twitch. Figured it was time to record your standard lonely episode of Farlands or Bust. Oh boy. But what has happened? What has happened, Kurt? Oh, I'll tell you what happened. We're still raising money for direct relief at farlandsorbust.com. Trying to raise $50,000 this season. Currently at $21,000. Take two. $21,025. That's how you say numbers that are big. I have just as many problems with big numbers as does Minecraft. Except it happens to just break my brain as opposed to just causing floating point errors. $21,025 raised for direct relief. A very generous, a second. We had a previous very generous donation from Computerizer to get us to $20,000. But now another very generous donation, this one from Valerie, getting us to $21,000. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Not even a question from Valerie, just words of appreciation. Will we Farlanders appreciate you, and so does the charity of direct relief. Farlandsorbust.com is where you can keep donating. Still working on that Kurt Reacts video to the Guinness World Records thing. My problem, I tell you, is I overthink things. I'm like, all right, where am I going to do this? How am I going to set this up? Maybe I can have two cameras for like reaction shots. I overthink things instead of just doing them. And therein lies the truest downfall of the Kurt J. Mac is not just doing. Too much thinking, not enough doing. That's my slogan. Put that on a t-shirt. But yeah, we'll do that as soon as possible. It was the other thing where I'm like, well, I can't record another episode of Farlands or Bust until I do that thing. See? Too much thinking. Stop it. Cease and desist. Stop with the thinking. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'll just, I don't know, use a webcam or just I've already got all the lights up here for streaming. I'll just put the lights up and turn them on and put a camera on my face and begrudgingly watch the Guinness World Records video and be awkward and cringy in the greatest of senses. But yeah, I do appreciate all those donations and the support. You know what else you can support is the Mindcrack Marathon coming up December 7th. 8th and 9th, the 48-hour marathon. I mentioned this last time. Did I mention this last time? I feel like I should have mentioned this last time if I didn't. The Mindcrack Marathon is still happening. You thought it wouldn't happen. Oh, but it do. It do. December 7th, 8th, and 9th. It's taking place right here in Seattle. So I am going. I am attending. Oh, wait, no, yes, I did indeed. Or did I? I might have just mentioned it on stream instead of Farlands or Bust. Who knows? But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a scaled down situation. We lost our main production crew that we had for the last 4 years, unfortunately. So it's going to be scaling back some of that old school early live stream YouTube sort of everybody gets together and hangs out. There might just, instead of these fancy pants segments with screens and overlays, multiple cameras, might just be people hanging out on a couch playing video games on a console or something like that. You know, like you're look back at the days of yore, of the Desert Bus, of Zeldathon. People just hanging out in a house. I think we got better than a house. We got the Nerd Fusion offices, but should be fun. It should be fun. Cone Dodger's coming back for it, as you know. Cone Dodger, now a member of Mindcrack. Of the server. Cone has indeed been on the Mindcrack server, and I wanted to take this time to kind of not reply, but sort of be inspired by a topic that Cone talked about recently on one of his Mindcrack episodes. I tell you what, speaking of old school Minecraft and old school YouTube, if you want to watch a series that's like that sort of old school stuff, I do indeed recommend Cone Dodger 240's Mindcrack video series, where he's actually doing Minecraft things like building and whatever, but he's also talking, you know, like we used to before I got ground into a fine paste. So yeah, I would very much recommend that if that's the sort of thing you're looking for. But one of his recent episodes, I think, was called "Do I Need Friends?" And he funny title. He was basically talking about, do I need friends? Do I need IRL friends, like people in real life? And his kind of conclusion for himself was that maybe he doesn't. He feels like he gets a lot of that social fulfillment from all the connections he's made online through his patron server and fans, through the Farlander stuff and the racing stuff he's into, and simply interacting with everybody on a near daily basis on there is enough for him. And then he spun that and talked about how I have recently talked about, or earlier this month or last month, I'm like, hey, it's been 15 days since I've talked face to face to another human being. And I found that a bit odd. and yeah, that's a tough thing to say. I know for myself, at least, I know Cone is a lot more socially active in his community than I am, which I know for a while has been, I don't know if I want to call it a fault, but just a personality trait of mine. I've never, say we've got the Farlander server, the Patreon Discord, the Twitch chat. I've never, outside of when I'm actually streaming or answering questions or things like that, I've never fully dove in headfirst into like being openly present. And that might have to do with the difference in audience sizes, maybe. I could see how it would be a little bit less overwhelming for Cone. He's a smaller, I guess, group of people. And that's not like a humble brag or anything like that. That's just from the get-go. The only thing I know, starting this in 2011 and starting to get a bunch of viewers and things, is being a little bit overwhelmed just by the sheer number of people. And I appreciate every single one of these people. Farlanders, patrons, Twitch subs, y'all just watching on YouTube, even if that's all you do is watch. That's great. But I feel like I definitely... Ooh, that was a multi-stage collapse. I feel like I definitely have been more hesitant and purposefully absent from those kind of communities surrounding my content. By choice. Not like that I want to and I'm like, I can't do it. But it's kind of by design. Because it's also really neat to see how like the patron Discord started without me, and it, like everybody who was on the server created this Discord for themselves, and I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just make this the default, the official Patreon Discord for my Patreon supporters, and it worked because somebody else had done all the hard work. But yeah, I think that's definitely a difference. Is that I don't get that sort of same fulfillment, I think, from my own online connections. Yeah, let me go to sleep here, and I'll continue blabbing, just like the days of old. Remember, it was like episode 12 where I talked about being introverted and stuff, and so many people felt a connection. Just like that. This is what we're getting back to. The basics. And the basicsness. I am, as they say, basic. So yeah, I feel like that right there is a difference. I also know for myself that it's good. I've learned for myself that it is good for me to have face-to-face social interaction. Perhaps 3-4 years ago, I thought the opposite, where I'm like, I'm introverted, I don't want to go out, this makes me uncomfortable, it drains me. But the longer I am secluded from that, the more I know and have measured with science that it affects my inner well-being. And I'm sure that's the same for a lot of people. Just because by nature humans are social creatures, aminals, and it's been scientifically proven that you put somebody in solitary confinement for too long, and they tend to go off their bean, if you will. Their bean cannot handle such things as these. But I see it just in myself as far as energy, mood, depression, anxiety. The longer I go without it, the more anxious I am with, like leading up to the social interaction, whether or not it be with somebody I know or like a stranger or whatever. So yeah. So Cohn was pretty much talking, and I don't, watch his episode. I'm kind of like paraphrasing here. I don't ever feel like speaking for someone else, but he was saying how, like, when I was talking about, I haven't talked to a person in 15 days, he's like, what? I haven't talked to, like, I haven't done that, but for like over a month or whatever his kind of relation to that. And he found no issue for himself with that sort of thing. So yeah, it's the internet is weird. I've certainly made more connections over the internet than I even know that I'd be able to otherwise. It's just really unfortunate that the vast majority, if not all of those connections, are with people who are nowhere near me and are unable to hang out in person, which is a little bit of a, it's like, all these amazing people I've met and have been able to spend little time with, I can't. It's like you can't. You're unable to. They're out there, and you share a history and connection and friendship, but that can't be realized in person, which is a bummer. It's a bummer, and I know a lot of people deal with the same thing, having met people online or being part of communities via the internet. So yeah, that's a bit of a struggle. It's a bit of a struggle. I'm trying to get better at it. It's still not. I'm not good at. I don't know, like, how. I've mentioned this before. How do you talk to? No, not how do you talk to people. How do you, like? There's like, people have recommended Meetup, the Meetup.com website, and I've like done that, and I've like belonged to a couple, but I've never like gone to a meeting or anything like that. It's a strange thing to me. Similarly, and probably more obvious, say, with the like, this isn't what I'm talking about, but like the dating apps or whatever, where it's like, oh, swipe on somebody, and if you match, then like you suddenly it feels weird to me to suddenly and randomly, quasi-randomly, just expect to include a complete stranger into your life, even if momentarily. There's that expectation of it. And that might just be because I'm old. That those sort of things aren't made for my generation. I grew up before. Ooh, sorry, this is just a big old tube. Wow, don't push me in. A big old tube of sand. Tuba. Sorry, I just had a picture of a tuba. What was I saying? Oh yeah, maybe that's just because I grew up well before the internet, for better or for worse, and to suddenly see that become, quote unquote, the way people meet is really off-putting. Not off-putting, but just off-putting for me. Not putting judgment on other people, but just off-putting for me to consider a similar thing. And I guess, you know, on the same... What am I doing? I almost started to make more workbenches. On the same token, I wouldn't, like, go to a place, like, go to a bar or whatever, and expect to, like, randomly meet people there either. That almost seems weirder to, like, include yourself in someone else's life like that. I don't know. And yeah, maybe that's just my own personal reservations, I guess you could put on it. But yeah, it's just, yeah, it's tough to... I think I'm good at making connections digitally, but translating that to the IRL is a rough thing. And I'm doing fine. Don't worry about me. Maybe a little bit, but don't worry. Just kidding. I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. It is just one of those things that I noticed when I did mention, like, hey, I haven't, like, talked to somebody, like, face to face. Like, I'll occasionally talk to my parents or whatever on the phone or voice, like actual phone, not texting. And sure, I see whatever people at the grocery store who whatever check me out. Oh, they check me out all right. At the checkout line or whatever, but I don't like to have a friendly conversation with other people. It's kind of what I'm talking about. So yeah, that was just interesting because of how I watched that episode that Cone did, and to see what he thought of my situation from the outside is an interesting thing to have. A perspective to have, because, you know, normally it's just you're in your own head, and that's the only... We've passed by what seems like a lot of spawners, but don't see them, can't look for them. Sorry. So yeah, it's an interesting perspective to have outside my own self. The sort of perspective, in Cone's own words, about how I might be versus himself is very unique, and just got me thinking a little bit about it, and felt like it would be a good flob topic, indeed. So yeah, it's weird. So I guess, like, to answer the main, like, conclusion, or like of his title was, do I need friends? Yeah, I feel like I do. Do I need more? Like, I have connections with people. Do I need more friends? I don't feel like it. It would be amazing if all the connections I had were local. I mean, all the people I already know, like online, like Cone or you know, other people, Mindcrack, you know, and that's why I'm kind of looking forward to the, looking forward to the Mindcrack marathon, because all these people are going to be arriving in what is currently my hometown, which is pretty cool, even for very briefly. And it's not like we're going to be able to do much except the Mindcrack Marathon, obviously, but yeah, I think I do. I don't feel like I need more friends. Like I said, I'm not. It's tough to say like, oh, I want to go meet new people, but it's kind of like, well, I already have the connection I want with this person, that person. It's just too bad they're not here. It almost feels like replacing or duplicating those connections. I don't know. Again, thinking too much perhaps and not doing. Thinking and not doing. I don't know. We'll see. No, yeah, well, Wolfie knows. Wolfie knows. Look. Let's continue on here. Oh, what we did do with our friends, we streamed the NASA landing on Mars. Only the 8th, if I am correct, only if the 8th successful landing on the surface of Mars in the history of spaceflight. The InSight lander successfully landed on Mars Monday, and we live streamed that. It was pretty cool. This one not a rover, not like the Curiosity rover, but actually based on the Polar lander. What was that one called? Phoenix? Was that one called Phoenix? Based on that platform, but this one is studying the insides of Mars, the seismology. It has a 5-meter drill. It's going to be the first spacecraft to drill into the surface of Mars. And also has a seismometer. It's a hard thing to say. Where it will detect or try to detect potential Mars quakes and also meteor asteroid impacts. It'll be able to detect such things as these and learn about the inner workings and origins of Mars as a rocky planet. Very cool indeed. Let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. And a Marsness. A Marsness indeed. So yeah, that was cool. Got back like pretty immediately a little tiny image thumbnail of where it landed. And there's been another image, couple more images come back, but I think it's a few more days. The solar panels deployed as intended. It's going to be a few more days while the instruments check out before they start using the full camera and start doing science. So it's really cool, really neat to see. Really neat to see indeed. And I think I followed the launch of that some 7-8 months ago, but I really haven't followed or kept up with the actual mission in a while. And of course it also had little, which is a first for this, little companion satellites go with it. And supposedly those companion satellites, about the size of a laptop computer it looked like, they apparently took pictures of the landing from it. They didn't land. They kind of will slingshot around Mars and then just be flung into space. Their mission is kind of done as the kind of companion spacecraft on their way to Mars. So looking forward to those. That'd be pretty neat too. Space news. Oh man. Yeah. Let's answer a few questions. We still need questions. Of course, when you donate to Direct Relief at farlandsbus.com, you can ask a question. And I can answer those in case you're tired of me just waxing poetic about random topics I pick up from other YouTubers. Pallet Hands hit us with 3 rapid-fire donations and questions. Pallet Hands asks, what do you use to style your beard? Any recommendations for beard shaping? Shaping of beards. I use a like beard shampoo, and sometimes just because I don't go out that much. Speaking of the previous topic, I'll use beard wax or beard balm, which always helps keep the crazy beard under control. Ooh, this is interesting. Traveling through the mountain. Ooh, maybe not that way though. Careful, Wolfie. Careful, Wolfie. Careful, Wolfie. Ooh. Fancy. So yeah, I do that. I think they were also asking about, like, what sort of razor do you use or anything like that. I use just an electric shaver sort of thing to, like, get, you know, get the neck line and stuff like that, and the cheeks. You gotta, you know, I'd have little fuzzes be growing out my cheeks up to my eyeballs if I didn't, like, trim back to shape. And then I just use scissors for the long chin stuff. Scissors for the long chin stuff is the name of my next album. So yeah, that's all I use. Then they ask, what kind of socks do you wear casually? Crew, ankle, no-show, white, black, gray. I'm pretty sure I've answered this before, but I'm a crew sock. I am a crew sock. I used to wear gray a lot, but I've switched to blue, navy blue, dark blue. Matches jeans a little bit better. So yeah, crew sock, the gold toe, whatever, you get them in packs of 6 or something. Various shades of blue. Got quite a few of those. Do you wear braces or belts? I think we can assume that pallet hands is European, because by braces they mean suspenders. What is your opinion of elasticated plants? Elastic, let's say elastic plants. That is difficult to say with your mouth face. I would wear a belt, but I typically don't, unless I'm, like, going out and my pants, my jeans in particular, might be like a loose pair of jeans. Otherwise, I just get jeans that, like, fit snuggish, because jeans typically made out of cotton will stretch out in the waist department. But yeah, belt is the way to go. I do not wear suspenders. Braces, as you call them. What is your opinion of elastic pants? Fine for, like, sports and stuff. I think I have, like, my hiking shorts have kind of little elastic stuff going on to make sure they don't fall down. They cinch tight. So yeah, if you're, like, doing sports or whatever, that's fine. Or if you're, like, over the age of 75, maybe, or have a medical condition that requires the ease of pant upheaval. Otherwise, probably not the most recommended style choice on a younger folk, younger males, probably, because I don't know, would you count, like, tights and leggings, yoga pants? See, yoga pants, sports, even for women, the rule applies. So yeah, thank you very much, Pallet Hands, for this style edition of Answer This Question, please, Kurt, as I donate to Direct Relief. TDW fan asked, how are you enjoying Minecraft 1.13 on the Farlander Patreon server? Better, worse, or about what you thought it would be like? Do you think some of your fondness for Minecraft Beta 1.7.3 comes from the texture pack? Would you ever consider changing it? Well, this is like the default texture pack. It isn't, but the vast majority of the textures are default. And honestly, I can't tell you how it's changed in the recent versions. So no, I don't think it has much, if anything, to do with the texture pack. It's the actual game itself. It's simplistic interface and usability. It's far more what I would consider truly random terrain generation. Not really based on structured biome borders and sizes and things like that. So yeah, I definitely think that is why the entire experience is nostalgic for Beta 173. How am I played a bit on we reset the Patreon server, patreon.com/GoatJMac if you'd like to join, to 113. And I built a thing. I built a cabin for myself, a regular oriented upside angle house. It's kind of what I expected, and I expected not to be like, ooh, I need to play this. It's just because it's far too much. It's far too much to ask to be able to play one video game for over 8 years, as it has changed beyond the game you remember. I don't think it's bad. It's just, as someone, like, for someone brand new, sure, everything is new to them. They don't know all the things I already know from the old versions of the game. So everything is new to them. They don't realize there are all these little incremental slight differences that might be a little bit off-putting to players of the game who have had it since its inception. Blah, inception. But just not what I like. So yeah, it's a little bit tough to get me back into that too much. But I hope y'all are enjoying it, that's for sure. Also speaking of which, Patreon and whatnot, I just ordered a brand new design postcard. So if you are a patron or considering becoming a patron, careful Wolfie, careful Wolfie, careful Wolfie. Oh, of all the things. I don't know why I'm out of boats. Yeah, I just ordered postcards. So if you want a postcard, please make sure your address is correct before December 1st, because that's when Patreon does its whole, like, ooh, we're charging you for the next month. And that's when I get an updated, based on that, is when I get an updated list of patrons and addresses. If you would like a postcard, it's just the $5 tier, and you just have to include your mailing address on Patreon. I mean, that's fine too if you would like to join that. But just for current patrons and potential future ones, I'll be using the December 1st, 2018 list to send out the next batch of postcards. Indeed. Well, look at that. An episode of Farlands or Bust recorded without doing so on Twitch first. I need to very hastily find a place, here we go, to make an end of the episode hidey hole here before it gets too dangerous. Ooh, that over there seems like it would have been a cool place, but it's too far. Too far! Dangerous. Boink. Hey, alright, we've done it. Let's make this full-sized here. Thank you once again for watching and for all your support. Regardless of whether or not you are Valerie with your big donation, or any amount of donation always goes towards the goal and helping out the Direct Relief charity. Spooky noises. And of course, if you are one of those individuals who itemizes your deductions for taxes, this is a charity that is deductible, if that's the sort of end of the year thing you'd like to get in. Not the main reason you should ever support, but a little additional reason if you're looking for it. Boop, boop, boop. Woof! Wolfie agrees. Wolfie has a master's degree in tax preparation. The things you learn. So yeah, farlandsofbus.com to check that out. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time. Cease and desist.